sports betting brother, and hey, bring it up, and thanks for stopping by. My name is Boyd. I'm a sports betting market analyst with OddsJam.com, where we teach you how to bet like a sharp. And today we're talking about hedging. What is hedging in sports betting? And we're going to define that, talk about the various types. There's many different types of hedging. We'll go into that here in a minute as far as the different scenarios you may encounter. And then finally, just talk about when to do it, when not to do it, when's right, when's not right, and how maybe will help you through some of these situations you might find yourself in your sports betting endeavors. So let's get going. All right, guys, here we go with hedging. What is hedging? Hedging is a bet or a way to limit the risk in sports betting. And so the most common way is that people will hedge and go the opposite side of a bet that maybe they placed a little bit earlier. Let's say that, for example, you had a wager on Wednesday on a game in the NFL, and you took that, say, Dallas -7, they're playing the Giants, and then later in the week things change and you want to, you don't feel so comfortable with that, so you could basically just take the opposite side of that. If the lines are still the same, you're taking New York +7, so at the end of the day, they cancel each other out, and you escape that risk that you didn't feel so comfortable about. Now, there's lots of other types of hedging. We'll get into that a little bit later. There's a lot of crafty pros that are doing hedging on parlays and futures and things like that, so we'll talk more about other types of hedging, give you some examples. But at the end of the day, hedging is basically just to minimize risk, a way to do it. And it's funny, I looked up the definition, the true definition, and say investments, and their definition is hedging is an advanced risk strategy that involves buying or selling an investment to potentially help reduce the risk of loss on an existing position. It's just like it is in sports betting. So we'll talk more about other scenarios, and then after that, we'll talk about when the best time is to hedge, if you should hedge at all. All right, guys, let's give you some real life examples of some types of hedges you might come into play in your sports betting endeavors. The first one is a parlay. Let's say, for example, you have a 3-leg parlay. Again, in the NFL, NBA, it doesn't really matter. It's just the parlays are a little bit tougher to hedge because typically you can only hedge the last leg of the parlay. So let's say, for example, you hit the first 2 bets and you have that third leg, that last piece that pulls it all together. There's an opportunity at that point to bet in different manners to offset any losses of the other side of that. So you could absolutely do that. But again, parlays, typically the last leg has to happen before you have that opportunity arise. Moving on to futures. Let's say, for example, it's early part of the season and you pick out a team or two and you put some money down that they'll win, let's say, their conference championship or whatnot. And throughout the course of the season, their odds change and fluctuate and things like that. And of course, different times of the year, you have an opportunity to place a wager that would, counter that or hedge that. So futures bet's kind of a more common opportunity for hedging. Of course, the day-to-day, but futures is another one. And then the last one you might come across is the opportunity to middle a bet. So here's an example of that. Back to that Cowboys-Giants game on Wednesday, it's Cowboys -7. And again, this concept holds true with any situation, but holds true. And then later in the day you decide to let it kick off, get it going. By halftime, it's 14-3 Cowboys. You could at that point take a halftime wager to finish the day at Giants +10.5. So in theory, you could win both bets. You'd create a middle and a hedge. So think about that. Makes sense, right? So a lot of these things you have to be quick to react and position yourself so that you kind of know what's going on in the market and react accordingly. But at the end of the day, hedging is just basically minimizing your risk, and in many cases, taking an opportunity to still come out ahead and profitable by placing certain bets on opposite sides or in different manners, whether it's alternative lines, things like that, to get your position where you want it to be and protect that. So finally, let's talk about when you should hedge. What's the right answer? Everyone's got a different perspective on that. I think at the end of the day, it's up to you. If you're in a position where your bankroll's low, and you're really trying to protect that bankroll and do the right thing, I think that's a good opportunity to hedge. And absolutely, if things are going really well, it's not a big deal. It's not going to, mean the world if things don't go the other way. Let it ride. I think there's definitely something in it to not hedge and follow what you were going to do in the first place and let it go. But certainly, if you're getting indicators that things are going to go the other way and it's a little bit different priority as far as your bankroll, it makes sense to do. It's business, right? So you're here to make money, not lose money. So it's all, at the end of the day, up to you in your exact situation. So I think there's really no right or wrong answer. Makes sense? There's hedging. All right, guys, there we go. There's hedging, and hopefully gives you an idea of what the term not only means, but also some examples, some day-to-day examples of what you might run into and how you can approach that best with some strategy and some good tips there. I want to remind you also there's a free 7-day trial at OddsJam. You can use all the tips, all the data-driven, mathematically profitable information and education at OddsJam. So welcome you to please take advantage of that 7-day free trial. And thanks for stopping by. Check out this video. As always, let's go make some mathematical money.